Gamera is really neat. Gamera is filled with meat. We've been eating Gamera.
Welcome, I'm the Kaiju no Kami, and tonight's review is Gamera 2, Advent of Legion or Attack of Legion. It's one of those two. It really just depends on what part of the movie you're looking at. Gamera, Guardian of the Universe was not only a box office success, but it was also universally praised for its special effects and storytelling. As such, Dai immediately set a sequel to production that Kaneko would return to direct. This time, Gamera would face an entirely new menace rather than just rehashing a previous monster. Not only that, but it would be a monster from outer space. And it was done in a more realistic manner that redefined how an alien threat could be executed in a kaiju movie. This decision allowed Attack of Legion to be the first kaiju movie to win a Japanese Nebula Award in 1996. That is pretty awesome. But can this movie live up to the potential its predecessor created? Let's find out. Gamera 2 kicks off with a series of meteorites crashing down on Earth, or more specifically, on Japan. From here, the military is sent out and we meet our first main player, Colonel Wadarase, played by Toshiyuki Nagashima.
落下物の回収はいえが着地の瞬間制動がかかったような形跡があるんです
It turns out that the meteorites have disappeared after hitting the surface, leaving strange tracks in their wake. From here, we also meet science instructor Midori Hanami and engineer Obitsu. Miki Mizuno and Mitsuru Fukakoshi play this duo that works for a science lab. They are having some issues with their computer systems, along with the rest of Hokkaido, and come to discover that the sky is glowing green as if they were in Alaska.
天に赤き印ありと日本書紀にあるし、緑となるとこの地域の上空にだけ磁力線の歪みがあるとしか考えられん。ああ、この辺りに強力な磁場が働いてるのかもしれん。それで電子部品がいかれたんだろう。
ちょっと外に出て見てきます。
いや。
この辺りは立ち入り禁止ですよ
どこか他へ移動したんじゃないですか？
動きますか隕石が
動きませんよね。でもあの流星群が地球と遭遇したのは全くの偶然なんでしょうか？
Whoa, okay, Human Torch. You need to chill out a little bit. I understand you think she's hot, but come on, that's a little excessive. We are then treated to a nice cameo by former Inspector Osako, who quit his job after his encounter with the Gals to work as security at a Kirin beer facility.
なんで辞めたんです？
死ぬほど恐ろしい目にあってな、刑事には向いてないって思い知らされた。
You can kind of say that he couldn't bear the thought of another monster attack. Unfortunately for him, it seems like a strange creature has decided to get wasted and attacks the warehouse. Once again, Osako is attracted to unbearable circumstances as he and his partner flee the scene in terror.
Delicious space, me? A little heavy on the electrons,
He just needs to grin and bear it.
I see what you did there. Herein lies the problem. 4 days have passed since the meteorites landed on Earth and the amount of strange occurrences have multiplied. Obitsu discovers that all of the optic fibers throughout Hokkaido have just vanished. From there, Hanami gets a call to meet Wadarase at the Kirin warehouse, and she also has to bear the burden of the bad news. I couldn't resist. I had to do at least one more. The next day, a subway is attacked.
I take the train every day. It's safer than walking.
Perimeter is set up around the area while the police try to find out what happened. They travel down into the tunnels only to find themselves under attack from the creatures. A giant pod smashes through the roof of a building while Waterase and his soldiers look for the creatures and rescue the survivors. Hanami and Waterase realize that the oxygen levels around the pod have increased, which is what caused the flamethrower lighter. So that's the excuse you're going with. The oxygen levels were really high, which is why your lighter shot out very excitedly. Got you. I'll buy that. No, really. I'll buy it. You just have to give me money. Come on. You're no happy corporation. They also learn that the creatures must coexist with the pod in order for both to survive, similar to carpenter ants and fungi. Obitsu discovers that if the pod were to launch its spores into the atmosphere, everything in a 6-kilometer radius would be destroyed. The pod flowers, so the military attempts to destroy it without success.
This guy's got the right idea. He wore the brown pants.
Here I come to save the day.
Thankfully, Gamera shows up just in time to destroy the pod. Suddenly, a plague of the creatures swarm Gamera, covering his body as if he were a Castlevania boss. One of the soldiers names the creatures Legion after a Bible story. Gamera transforms into his saucer mode, spinning the creatures off as he flies away. A giant-sized bug smashes through the ground and takes to the sky, only to disappear after being intercepted by the Defense Force's jets.
Lost sight of it, sir. You want to run that by me again?
One of the critters is dissected. I see what. Dude, are you going to tell the rest of the audience what you have figured out? Because right now it seems like you're just blowing hot air. Get it? Blowing hot air. Okay. I promise, no more puns. So it turns out the creatures are full of gas and that their bodies act like a semiconductor, which is why they devour anything that has glass in it. It is also revealed that electromagnetic waves attract them. The Legion army attacks Sendai and a new pod emerges. Everyone, including Hanami, is being evacuated by the military at the airport when Gamera shows up.
Get to the chopper!
This also causes the giant Queen Legion to surface and a battle begins. Gamera protects the last chopper as it tries to take off, which also happens to have Asagi on it, as her and a friend were vacationing in Sendai when all this occurred. The chopper escapes, Legion stops Gamera from accomplishing his goal, and Watarase decides to have his men flee the city before the pod explodes. Hey Gamera, you know, this movie's been kind of by the book so far. Is something different? Obitsu discovers an electronic pattern that kills the Legion, which is great news because Tokyo is its next target. The SDF set up on the outskirts of Tokyo to prevent the bug invasion.
Come on, you hate! You want to live forever?
Legion tramples through the defense lines with ease.
We are the Borg. Lower your shields and surrender your ships. We will add your biological and technological distinctiveness to our own. Your culture will adapt to service us. Resistance is futile.
At the same time, Asagi and Hanami travel to the wasteland that was once Sendai with a group of children? Why would you bring children to this wasteland?
You'll be fired. Or Kiryu. For being an irresponsible white person.
Asagi uses Monster Reborn and Gamera is resurrected, but not without a cost as her medallion shatters in her hand. Orihokum melts in your hand, not in your mouth. He flies off to battle Legion once again. Okay, that was one awesome entrance. I don't even think Godzilla's had an entrance like that. Obitsu creates what is essentially a giant wall of flypaper with a relay station to keep the swarm away from Gamera, while he battles the pesky queen. Gamera destroys the queen's horned antennae and she starts to whip him into shape. The swarm is blown to hell while Gamera delivers the final blow. He flies off, leaving the world safe once again. Or is it?
人間は結局またガメラに救われたんですね。
ガメラが救ったのは人間じゃないと思う。きっとガメラは地球の守護者なのよ。
それじゃあもし人間が生態系の破壊を続けたら
ガメラの敵にはなりたくないよね。
Well, what do you know? Another excellent Gamera adventure! This is turning out to be a blast to watch. While Attack of Legion may not expand on the Gamera mythos, it does a great job in providing another entertaining Gamera movie, and an action-packed one at that. There is a lot of setup in the beginning, and it all pays off in the end. I can't think of a single moment that was not important to the overall plot, which is a rarity for a kaiju movie. The characters may not be the most developed group, and Asagi does feel shoehorned in during the last act, but they all have a purpose and they all do it well. Nagashima displays a lot of emotion in his character's body language when it comes to the conclusion he has failed in his mission to save Sendai, which is one of the most shocking scenes in the entire movie because you never expected to see a city get laid to waste in this manner. It kind of harkens back to the original Godzilla when he destroyed Tokyo for the first time and how that terror felt among the city's inhabitants. The execution in presenting Legion as an alien being is also distinctive and shows you can do an alien monster without having cheesy spacemen or spacewomen appear. In fact, I have a sneaking suspicion that this might have inspired how Toho went about with Orga in Godzilla 2000. Nevertheless, Legion herself, or their selves, themselves, was pretty awesome, especially in both design and the threat level it provided. These creatures are there to manifest its own survival, nothing more, nothing less. It's not there specifically to kill anyone, that is just a byproduct of its being, making it more terrifying compared to its kaiju brethren. Of course, Legion isn't the only monster that looks callous, as even Gamera seems to have grown a tad meaner since the last movie. The spikes on his arms are now permanent, the shell seems to have sharper edges, the face looks a tad pointier, and the eyes look nastier, as if he is pissed off. I love it. On the other hand, I'm not sure how I feel about the giant beam he had coming out of his shell. I guess it shouldn't matter given that he can shoot fireballs, but it seems just a little silly that his shell can open up to shoot some beams, especially when this is never touched upon. Nevertheless, this is hands down the best looking Gamera we have gotten thus far, and it also helps that this movie is very action packed as far as the monster action is concerned. Not only did Gamera show up 3 times to battle Legion, but each battle lasted a good amount of screen time, which is also not seen very often. Ko Otani returned to helm the score, and it is as superb as it was in the previous iteration. The same goes for Higuchi's effects, which are extensively done with great precision. I cannot stop complimenting the hard work these two have continued to provide in this monster showdown despite the movie being out barely a year after its predecessor. It really does put to shame Toho's effects work from the 90s, as it goes to show it isn't about the time frame that matters, but rather the amount of care and dedication one has towards their job. I really love how things shake and crumble whenever Gamera lands or is about to land. It's pretty impressive. It's also not often that you get to see a kaiju movie dealt in the winter time with a lot of snow, so that also helped to bring a unique flavor to this film. The only area where this movie falters in its effects is with its CGI, as it does look cheap at times, just like it did with Guardian of the Universe. However, this is such a minuscule nitpick that it doesn't take away from the overall enjoyment one bit. In the end, I cannot express how superb Attack of Legion is. It hits every note just perfectly in its pacing, its execution, its action, its characters, its effects. It is all done in such a great manner that this is a rare gem in the kaiju genre. Just like with the last movie, you must go out and buy this because it is a must own. I cannot wait to get to Revenge of Iris, and until then, bye.
Beware, you're in for a scare.